There goes his hat. Hey YouTubers, so today we're going to work on the tan sao punch, or the tan da. So usually that's when you're doing a tan sao and a hit. We're also combining that with tan sao, lob sao, like what you see in the first set, when you see tan sao, lob sao, palm strike, out of the wooden dummy set 1 and set 2. But we're going to do it with a tan sao and a punch instead, like that. Tan sao punch or tan sao, lob sao punch. Okay, so what you do is, if you're starting from the center goat stance, you're going to do a tan sao here, lob sao punch, or simultaneous tan sao punch. And when I shift, I'm going to shift into my back leg and turn and punch, just like this. Tan sao punch, tan sao punch. And both my hands shoot forward, so even my tan sao hand comes out through the center, and I'm doing a rotation here. So if it's just tan sao, it looks like this, and I shift. So that forward push with my tan sao, and then that rotation is redirecting. And as I tan sao, push forward and redirect, this hand can extend. And now this, if it's just this punch, I'm just twisting and hitting like this, straight down center line. And you combine those two motions together, you get tan da. Tan da. And you do the other side, tan sao straight out, rotate. Tan sao straight out, rotate. Tan sao straight out, rotate. Tan straight out and rotate, simultaneous. Tan sao, rotate. Now you do it with a punch. Rotate and punch. And then tan sao punch. Tan da. If you notice, I bring my hand out just outside of this angle, outside 90 degrees. So if it's straight out this way, full extension, it's in between those 2 points. That's where I get the best angle of my arm to resist and have forward pressure. Then I also keep the wrist and shoulder almost aligned, but that can depend on the attack, if I have to change it or not. And my elbow is about a fist length away from my ribs, like that, okay? And you can now practice both sides. So if I'm going to do tan sao left and right, tan sao punch, tan sao punch. Now the hand, if I'm already in this position, I'm just going to open this one, and this is going to close and goes forward. So the tan sao hand always goes first to block. This one can go behind it, and I'm striking. Tan sao punch, tan sao punch, tan sao punch, tan sao punch. So this hand is going to, since it's back here, it retracts, shoots out. That way this one's sweeping the hand away and guarding it, then this one can just follow through right away. Sweep it away, strike. Okay? Now if you have a dummy, you can practice just like this. Tan sao punch. So I'm going to hit with a tan sao, rotate my feet, and hit. Tan sao punch, tan sao punch, tan sao punch, tan sao punch. I can start from just stationary and hit out, or left side. Either which hand I want front. I can have the left hand front, or I can have the right hand front. Normally, whatever hand I'm blocking with would be easier to have in front. So if my left hand was in front, I would block it with my left. Right hand in front, blocking it with the left. Okay, and if I want to alternate, you just go left and right, and straight to tan sao punch. So now instead of going forward and hitting, since my hand is already out there, I'm just retracting it to a tan sao, like that. Okay. Now if you're in the bob, it's more like a person. I could be tan sao in the hand, still keeping the center line, and then punch. Tan sao punch. Tan sao punch. Tan sao punch. Tan sao punch. Tansao punch, Tansao punch, Tansao punch. Now this one we can add lopsao because lopsao is a grabbing. So you could be doing lopsao and grab, lopsao grab. So now I'm going to grab the arm and hit. And I'm pulling them into attack like this, right? So now the hand that tansaos is pulling in too now. So I maybe had forward pressure block, then I'm going to pull in and hit. Tansao, punch, tansao, punch, tansao, punch, tansao, punch. Good, so that's even better when we're out here maybe, and I want to just grab it, drop the arm, and hit right over the top. Right? And I can do paksao if I want to add to that, and tansao punch, paksao punch. Same thing could have been paksao first, then lopsao. Yeah. So that's with a little bit of extended distance. If you're outside of range, they may block or they may just have their hand up, and I'm just cutting the guard away and going right for the punch. If you notice, I have my arm or my forearm on their elbow or my elbow on their elbow, keeping this hand down. So after I hit it, I want to keep both hands trapping it. And then I can, of course, cut along that line, catch the elbow, punch with the other hand. Right? So I'm occupying this arm at all times. So if I first bridge it with the left hand and I hit, I can hit with this one. Or maybe I bridge it with the lead hand and I punch with the rear hand first. Right? Same thing. Good? So you can drill those movements first. Just the tansao punch, and you can add lopsao. And keep the elbow down, and you cut along this line. If you notice I'm doing it slow motion, it's like I'm sawing down on his arm. Transition to the punch, saw down on the arm to catch the hand again. Right? And since I'm on this side of his body, he doesn't have use of that rear hand as much. And even if he did, as I pull this arm and hit, that's off balance, so even most likely gonna miss me. It'll throw that way, right? So if I control this arm, both either pushing it down with paksao or pulling it with lopsao, I'm keeping them slightly off balance at the same time. So you can work on that with bob. You can do this in the air too, like we did before. Going this way with one lead side. If you're going neutral, you would just go from the center stance and tansao punch, tansao punch. Okay, or from the guard stance, I can tansao the arm, hit, or paksao hit, lopsao punch, or lopsao punch, paksao punch, and that would be how you do it in the air. Same thing with the wooden dummy, tansao punch, and tansao on the arm, lopsao punch, tansao, lopsao punch, paksao punch. So if I want to add the paksao is just bringing the hand down, pocking the arm, and then hit, pock, hit, pock and hit, pock and hit. So if I'm out from the outside, pushing forward at both hands, pock and punch, pock and punch. Now I'm already out here, same thing with the tansao. I just bring this hand back to block, and I hit. This hand's punching extended, so as I retract it, I switch it to a punch. Tansao punch, switch to tansao. Now paksao. Okay, so you're adding tansao and paksao now. So paksao being here, right? You're doing that. Boom, paksao, paksao, paksao. So I'm shifting same way. Instead of tansao here though, my paksao comes across and my fist goes behind it. So when I'm doing it forward, paksao is gonna go in first and I punch out. Paksao goes out first, punch out. First and punch out. If I'm doing a transition from a punch, then the punch hand becomes paksao on the way back and I strike out. Paksao on the way back, strike out. Pox on the way back, strike out. Pox out, punch. So if I'm already going forward, pox out, then I'll do a pox out, strike. But if I'm in lops out here, then this becomes pox out on the way back. See? Attacking with pox out first. Tanzao, you could go tanzao to pox out. So now I pox from here. So tanzao punch, this becomes pox out punch. Tanzao pox out. So instead of just tanzao or just pox out, you can combine tanzao with the pox out. Tanzao with the pox out. Tanzao, pox out. Okay? That's more like tanzao punch, pox out punch. Yeah, and that tanzao could be lop styles, meaning I'm just grabbing over the hand this way, or I could just be hooking it with the back of my hand as a trap and straight to it. Okay, that's why the hand is pointed down a bit, so I can hook this and go for a straight chin palm strikes or create a fist and hit. But it's hooking the hand, but all it is rolling it over and you have a lop style. Okay? So practice that today. I'll see you guys next time. If you like the shirts, we still have these available below the video. You can pick up the Ninja Nate shirt. Bob is now wearing a jacket and he's wearing the hat as well. Probably next video I'll wear the hat, or I'll just take it from him now. You can kind of see what it looks like. But yeah, there we go. So now you got the tanzao punch, pox out punch, and how to do that shifting with the feet. So if you're in a center stance, the way to get there is remember to bend the knees, toes out, toes in. And from there, I should be just a little bit slightly apart. Knees pointed in slightly because the toes are pointed in. I'm not pushing in with my knees. I'm just bending in this apex of a triangle here. My knees keep tracking with my toe. So I'm not pulling it in like this. I'm just bending it with the feet. And now some people, if they have problems with this stance, you could be more parallel. Don't injure it too much. You don't have to emphasize this quite as much. It's actually better with wider hips with women. They can do this a lot easier than men. So you can just go where it's comfortable. But the stance would be out, in, bring your hands out. You have the tanzao punch and both hands coming out. And the switch, tanzao punch. Then we had pox out coming out, pox out coming out, push forward and hit, push forward and hit, and switching, pox out, hit, pox out, hit. And applying that again through the wooden dummy, tanzao, pox out, tanzao, pox out. You can even go pox out to tanzao, pox out to tanzao. Same thing on Bob. Tanzao punch is the main one we started with. Hit. You can add in pox out here. Right? Bam. Then trap, hit. Trap, hit. Trap and hit. Okay? You see my waist turn, right? Bam. I turn to get that reverse punch. I turn again to get this pulling motion as I'm twisting this way. I'm pulling and I'm driving this into the target. This one I'm pushing down and I'm hitting. Pull, push, pull, push, pull, push. Not to say you can't pull with this one too, you still could. You could pop this and kind of jet saw and pull it like that. But also it's good to like yank through, push forward again. Especially if I want to follow up. Maybe I want to push forward and then keep going. Remember to like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. And for members, make sure you check the members tab. If you don't know that it is, that members have a video course that they're going through. So if you want to get in that video course, go to the join button and then click full members. It's about $25 a month. And they go through step by step from lesson 1 through right now lesson 12 and so on as I keep adding on to it. So for members, make sure you check the community tab for the lesson for this week, as well as for you guys who are regular members. You can look at that as well, or also just continue to watch the free content we're putting out today. Hope you enjoyed that. Practice hard. See you guys next time.